Benfica Podcast is one of the founding members of Benfica Independent. Benfica Independent is an independent platform made by fans for fans, and in it, you can find our podcast along with many other podcasts, along with articles of opinion, video segments, and much, much more. We're also on Patreon, patreon.com/Benfica Independent, with exclusive contents for our Patreons.
Hasta que no estás aquí dentro no sabes la grandeza de este equipo. Sí, es un club que tiene una grandeza que no se comprende si no estás aquí dentro.
São de uma magia única, benfiquista, que só nós sentimos assim. Por muitos desgostos que possamos ter, valores mais altos se levantam. E o valor mais alto que se levanta em termos futebolísticos chama-se Benfica.
Quero o Benfica intimidar o adversário. Quero o manto sagrado entrar com vocês em qualquer estado. E assustados, pá! É isso que eu quero!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Doll Benfica Podcast. My name is Alfredo Fumacic. What's going on, everybody? Let us know how the sound is. Want to say hello to all the Freddies that have joined us. Guys, we're here early. Bruno Teixeira, Furioso, BFB, Flavio Ferreira, Redman 21, Chico Marcelino, Kevin, Fabs 5000. Let's see who else is. SLBEES. And Michael Machado. Welcome, everybody. Jukebox. Hope everybody's is doing well. Smash the like button. That's right. Let us know how the sound is. Sound is good. Dave's here. Dave, what's happening, Dave?
What's going on, everybody? Like Michael Machado said in this chat, and you as well, Alfredo, smash the like button. I'm seeing 2 at the moment. Let's get those likes, follows, subscribers.
Yeah,
Dave.
Dave, keep the Freddies
notification bell.
Keep the Freddies some company. I forgot to grab my tablet.
Yeah, no worries. Where's Cristiano? We'll see if he's here at some point. Smash the like button. What'd you guys think of the game? I already saw you guys in the chat here. This evening, already going through some mini therapy sessions about harshness and Roger playing, setting the lineup as he did. So we'll get into that here tonight.
Yeah.
But
we were hoping that Cristiano could join us, but unfortunately, he's not here yet. I texted him. I don't know how.
Cristiano's on his way to Saudi Arabia.
He's on his way to Saudi Arabia. He's gonna. Anyway, here we are. On tonight's podcast, we will break down the Estrela da Amadora game, Benfica's home opener, and we'll look ahead to Benfica's trip to Cockland. Dave, how many cock jokes are we gonna make today? What's the over under?
Here. Well, we already hit 1, so let's say we'll set the number at 2.5.
Two and a half.
Yeah.
Yes. So here we are. Hope everybody's doing well. As you could see, episode 494 is what we're up to. We're almost up to 500 episodes. Here we are every week bringing you the latest and greatest on Benfica. As I mentioned, Estrela da Amadora, let's get into it, Dave. Quite an interesting lineup, and I'll ask you what you thought about the lineup when that came out. Dave Kevin says Alfredo mic is good. Dave not
push
bad.
The mic up closer here.
All right, there we go. So, set up my whole Saturday, right? As I usually do, and what I usually do on game day, I set up my whole day around Benfica the Benfica game, right? So if I have chores to do, if I have to cut the grass, if I have to do work around the house, everything is planned out around this Benfica game. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that kind of plan the same way that I do. But certainly an hour right before the show, as I'm getting settled in after doing my chores and some work around the house, the lineup comes up. And lo and behold, Samu Soares is in goal. Ba Silva, Otamendi, and Auschwitz, Neves and Kokshu, Di Maria, João Mário, Rafa, and Cabral. So Samu Soares, I think that there was some people that were surprised, some others probably not so much. And as it turns out, from what Bola was reporting, apparently Vlaco Dimos had a discussion, or an argument rather, with Roger Schmidt when he found out that he wasn't going to start, and he ended up being sent home or told don't dress or get undressed. Usually Benfica has 3 goalkeepers warming up. If you've been to Estádio Luz during the warm-ups, that's how Benfica warms up, with 3 goalkeepers. One of them obviously doesn't dress, but there's always 3 warming up during that initial warm-up period. So as we found out, there was only 2. There was Samu Soares and Trubin. And I wasn't expecting Trubin to start. Samu Soares wasn't expecting him to start either. But after the Bola reported that little incident, and I don't know if it was something that was planted by the club so that the club is controlling the narrative, or if it was something that, like, we would suspect, right? Because we've spoken here about Vlaco Dimos at length in terms of if there's a guy that comes in that's going to compete with him and he feels threatened for the job and he will eventually lose his starting spot, we knew it wasn't going to be a good situation for Vlaco Dimos. And certainly that is what we have run into now. We don't know the extent of it. Certainly the club hasn't come out and said that Vlaco Dimos is being punished. There's rumors that he might be on the way out before the transfer window closes. But Roger Schmidt, just when he was asked about it in a post-game conference, he said that we needed new energy in goal, and he felt that he needed to make a change. So apparently his mind was made up in terms of who was going to start against Estrela da Amadora, and Samu got the start. I didn't expect Trubin to start, like I said. And Dave, you and I were talking about this, and Trubin has been with the team a whole half hour. Certainly not the guy that you want to throw in goal, not knowing the movements, not knowing the dynamics of the team yet, not knowing his teammates, especially the defensive line that he has in front of him, was something that was always going to be a little tricky, I should say. Now, the other surprising start or appointment, if you will, was Auschwitz on the left as left back. Now he's played right back, center mid, right midfield, left back. And it begs the question, Dave, if we have Ristich ready to go, and I'm assuming that he's healthy, why isn't Ristich getting a nod?
Well, that's a question for Roger Schmidt. Roger Schmidt clearly doesn't have that same confidence in Ristich, even if that's his natural position, left back. If Roger doesn't have confidence in Ristich, as we clearly see in this match, then he doesn't count for Roger Schmidt. And I mean, me and you have discussed this. I think we're making something out of nothing here. We got a couple of days left still open in the market. We can go and look for another left back if Ristich is not in Roger's plans. To be honest, when I saw this lineup, the Samu thing caught me right off guard, that I didn't even notice where Auschwitz was playing, because I'm so used to him being in the lineup. I didn't really even figure it out that he wasn't that he was going to be playing at left back. But the Samu starting in the lineup caught me off guard at first. But I think we're making something out of nothing here. It was one game, obviously while Juricic is injured, and if what's his name? Ristich doesn't have that confidence, or if Roger doesn't have that confidence in him and he doesn't count, then get him out of the squad and get another left back in there.
Yeah,
but, for one game, while the market's still open, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, and look, it's not that I have a problem with Auschwitz playing. Certainly, it's the question, right? If you have a willing and able left back on the bench who has been competing for their starting left back position, why would you play Auschwitz? Not to mention that Auschwitz and João Mario on the same side, on that left side, was like we were playing legless on one side. Every time Auschwitz got to the end line, he would just turn back because he didn't have a left foot to cross the ball.
Yeah, and if anything, João Mario doesn't. Somehow he still has a spot on this team. He must have those photos of Roger Schmidt somewhere, someplace. But he's really tailed off here. And if Roger's using that excuse of not starting Neres because he's coming off the injury that kept him out of the Supertaça, and if that's it, then fine. I would hope that it's nothing more and there's nothing personal or something in terms of lack of confidence or those two not seeing eye to eye, because you could clearly see that Neres in this team is something different when he's on the pitch.
Yeah.
But, yeah, if anything, I'm sure if Neres was starting in that match and Auschwitz was at left back, it wouldn't have been as bad as it looked when it was both Auschwitz and João Mario on that left side.
Yeah, and the thing that I'm thinking, right? So if you're going to put Auschwitz, and I was telling you this, and maybe it's an internal message that Roger's trying to send, right? Meaning, look, Ristich was here last season. We didn't count too much on him. This season, it doesn't look like he's going to be the guy that I have confidence in. So I get that. Maybe it's an internal message that he's sending to Rui Costa. Let's get another left back that could compete with Jurasek, because quite honestly, I haven't seen a lot from Jurasek either. I'm not convinced by Jurasek. But I'm okay with Auschwitz playing a left back if that's how Roger wants to do it, right? Because albeit not a defender naturally, Auschwitz is a guy that could help with the build-up, that could help with the possession. But don't put João Mario, which is a guy, in front of him. Because now you got two guys that can't go, in terms of stretching out the game and giving Benfica more width on the field, those are not the guys that are going to do it. So put a guy on the left side that could keep that wing stretch. And I get it. Roger Schmidt explained the whole Neres thing. He was hurt for the Super Cup. We didn't want to rush him. He wasn't 100%. Blah blah blah. But the guy clearly comes on and he changes the face of the game. So I don't understand what the hesitation is in terms of putting him on, even if you have to use him for the first 30 minutes to address the lack of depth that you have on that left wing with João Mario and Auschwitz.
But see, if I would rather him for the last 30 than the first 30. And if that's all, if you can only get a 45 or a 60 minutes, I don't even think we can get it. Well, based on Rogers' accounts, that you can't even count on him because he's coming off this injury, then I would rather have him come off as an impact sub instead of at the beginning of the game. Because who's to say that things don't go well in the first half hour, and then who's your guy off the bench, João Mario?
And I get it. And look, you could look at it in both ways, right? You could look at it that way. You could also say, man, we're playing Estrela da Amadora, newly promoted, right? And if this team is not good enough to be beating up Estrela da Amadora by the time I decide whether or not Neres should be thrown in there, or whether or not I decide to give Neres more rest, right, since he's coming off of an injury, you could look at it both ways. Or you could look, let's give him 30 minutes, let's put this game away, and then maybe we'll put Sheldrup in there just to manage the rest of the game, or João Mario, whatever. But you can't play with those two guys on the left-hand side. You just can't. It doesn't work. It does not work in terms of Benfica being an attacking team. Now, if you're playing a powerhouse that on their right wing, they have guys that are super strong, that are guys that could change a game, I understand. Maybe those two guys kind of hold the fort positionally, don't let too much penetration, but we're playing against Estrela da Amadora. We should have vertical guys that go forward, that could cross the ball. But look, I don't know. It's one of those things that I looked at the lineup, I looked what was going on, and I said, this could be the beginning of the end for Roger Schmidt.
Don't. I already told you, our rivals are in much worse shape. They're probably thriving listening to this. Yes, this is the end of Roger Schmidt. We can't forget that this team was in much shambles before Roger got here, and in just one season he managed to turn the ship around. So the rivals up north are in much worse shape. They just lost their Portuguese legend to the Saudi Arabia.
The Portuguese legend.
And they might have their own coach who's on the way out. So please let them have the soap operas and the shenanigans. We don't need to put any fire there. It was one match against Estrela, and don't worry, there's no fire there. We don't have to put Roger on the hot seat yet.
Yeah.
If this is going down the season and we got
Dave, I'm not saying I'm putting him down. I'm saying that this could be the beginning of the end.
But don't even say it's the beginning, because it's not. There's nothing. I think this is the problem with Benfica. We need to create some sort of drama, or something's got to be wrong. Like, relax. It's the second game of the season. We need to take a deep breath. This is my channeling my positive.
Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
Here. It's second game of the season. We've already got the Super Taça. We beat our rivals, Porto. You would think that we're 0-3 to start the season, the way that some people have been on Twitter and just in this chat here. Don't worry, calm down. It's a long season. We got stuff to fix. Market's still open. Everything's going to be all right.
Think it is? Okay.
Dave, I'm just saying, man. I don't want to be the one guy said I told you so.
There.
But
nothing there.
Yeah, look, let's move on, right? Because the first half wasn't the best first half, even though we created chances. Saw Cabral. My opinion of Cabral, he looks heavy, bro. He looks heavy. Yeah.
It's going to be hard for him. He didn't have the preseason to integrate with the team, and now you're
but he had the preseason of Fiorentina.
In there.
I know that he might
different style, different
right.
players.
I get that. But to me, he just seemed heavy and kind of rusty. Preso de movimento.
Yeah.
When you're not completely fluid, when you're not completely agile. But there were some things I liked about him. I liked the physicality. I like that one touch that everybody was impressed with on the left-hand side. I think he's a guy that could beat up on center defenders. I liked what I saw, but let's hope that his physical and his stamina conditioning gets up there so we could use him. But I didn't dislike him. I didn't think that this guy is another Musa. Because I think that the touch is there. I just think that the stamina and this conditioning is not there yet. As a matter of fact, I thought he was going to die when he came off the field. He was having trouble breathing. But certainly, as I mentioned, Benfica created a couple chances in the first half, but didn't really put them away. You got that header by in the 32nd minute. You got the Cabral with that shot in the 33rd minute, not too long after that bomb header. You got the Di Maria shot right at the end of the half. I thought that if Benfica had gone up 1-0 at the half, I thought that would have been fair, that would have been just. But it wasn't to be. 46th minute, Tino comes in, or at the beginning of half, Tino comes in for João Neves, who already had a yellow, and things seem to have changed. In the 69th minute, Neres comes in for João Mario, and then things really did change. I wanted to say something about Florentino and João Neves. And you guys know, if you listen to the podcast, you know that I love both of those guys. I think that they bring a certain skill set to this Benfica team, to this Benfica lineup that is needed. Now, my biggest thing, and I don't know if this is popular opinion or not, or how many people have taught this, I think that Kokshu plays better with Tino than he plays with João Neves. So I don't know if you guys in the chat agree with me, but certainly there's a lot of times that you see both João Neves and Kokshu in the same areas of the field. So and these guys have now had time to play together, they train together, they work out together. They should know more or less what areas belong to who, and who should be moving into what spaces within that midfield area. I just think that Dino, not only does he release Kokshu, gives more freedom to Kokshu, but he's also much better in terms of pressing much higher than João Neves is. João Neves doesn't have that pressing ability, even though he's he chases people. He's like a little flea that won't leave guys alone. But I think that Tino, in terms of the high press, I think that Tino is much better to play with Kokshu. And I think that we started seeing, it was probably the best game I've seen Kokshu play, and a lot of it came in the second half when Tino was on the field. Now, the whole Neres thing, man, and I think that, only a blind man, and even a blind man should be able to see this, is like when Neres comes in, it's automatically is a different Benfica. It's a different Benfica game. He's making things happen. He's making runs. He's running at defenses. He's the type of guy that doesn't need a lot of space to run at defense, unlike Rafa, who needs some space in front of him. So if defenders are smart, they're going to give Rafa very little space. When he gets the ball, they're going to give him very little space for him to turn and face. But Neres is different. He could operate on little pockets of space, and he's really good. And right off the bat, Benfica had been struggling, and I really thought, man, this is going to be another struggle in terms of putting the ball away. Neres doing his things. Tankstead coming in the 78th minute for Cabral, and then the first touch by Tankstead, 1-0, feed off of Neres on Tankstead's first touch. So the ugly duckling that apparently got skipped on a pecking order by Cabral. Now he's been with the team. He's been working out with the team. He's in condition to play, but yet Cabral gets the start, which I don't have a problem with. The ugly duckling comes in and saves the day for Benfica, because that first goal, regardless of Benfica won 5-0, 2-0, 3-0, 6-0, that first goal was the all-important goal, the goal that Benfica really needed. And Tankstead, it almost reminded me of Seferovic, Dave. The ugly duckling.
And he gets the job done, right? Hopefully he doesn't have as many misses as Seferovic, and he's more efficient with his goal opportunities, like he was in this touch here, right? That obviously that's all created by Neres, but he still needs to get a proper foot on that and a proper touch. So, good comparison there on the Tankstead Seferovic.
Yeah.
Angle. Never
so
thought
the
of
ugly
it, but,
duckling. How many times did and it wasn't last year, but the year before that Seferovic would come off the bench and it would help us a little bit.
No, ever since
plenty of times.
Since he moved in 2017 or 2018, he always had strikers ahead of him in the pecking order, and not only until that season where João Felix came along did he make that his position. But yeah, Seferovic was always number 2 or 3 in the pecking order of that position.
Yeah, so we put the game away for good in 90 plus with Rafa putting away another Neres pass. It just I think that everybody that watched the game knew that Neres was the key to Benfica's win. He was a guy that changed the game. And certainly there's a lot of people saying, myself included, that he needs to start. he has to start, regardless of whether he plays on the left, because Di Maria likes the right, or whether he plays on the right and Di Maria likes the left, and whether they switch, so on and so forth. Neres has to be one of the first names on your lineup, because he's just the guy that is Benfica's most unpredictable and dangerous player right now. And he does it with a certain level of consistency. Now, I don't know if not getting the starts will be something that will allow him to have consistency and momentum into the season. I don't think that Neres is a player that you should use off the bench, albeit I do understand when he's deployed like that, right? So it's much easier for Neres to go at a defense that has 60, 70 minutes on their legs already, 60, 70 minutes that they may have spent, just running around chasing the ball, defending against Benfica. And certainly, with Neves' strength and speed is something that he has an advantage of against defenders that may be a little bit more, worn out, if you will. But I think that Neves needs to start. And I think that everybody agrees with that. So Roger explained it, that he didn't feel that he was 100% to go the 90 minutes. So he gave him the last 30 minutes, whatever it was. So now this week I'm expecting Neres to start. What about you, Dave?
Yeah, I would expect the same thing, unless there's something from the medical bulletin that we're not privy to. But like you said, I think everyone here would agree there's no Benfica's strongest 11 has to include Neres on there. So if he's healthy, he's 100% ready to go. I would hope. It's not, you can't expect with Roger. I know everyone's got their bow and arrows ready to point them at him, but you would hope that David Neres is in the starting 11 here.
Yeah, let me read.
It's curious. Do you think it's curious that or a little suspicious that the team posted that video of him today, like for his 50th appearance?
Dave,
like it's
Dave,
some
Dave,
grand number.
You just criticized me for saying it's the beginning of the end for Roger Schmidt. Look, I think that Benfica just can't really look at that and think that this is staged or. I know that Paul Rezende was saying that this was something that was recorded even before the Estrela game. Whatever it is, just take it for what it is. This is his 50th game. Maybe he needs a little love.
Who was the last player that they did that for a 50th appearance?
I don't remember.
100, okay. 100, okay. A nice round number. 50, I can't tell you the last player. When I saw the video, I thought it was like a goodbye, like he was leaving video, but
I don't know. I look,
if that's the way that the club wants to put it, that he's here, he's not on the move out, sure, but I thought it was a little. But here's a little odd.
Here's the how I would reply to that, right? I think everybody agrees that Benfica has done an extremely good job in terms of stepping up their social media game, their behind-the-scenes footage, these little vignettes with players doing things, with players playing games or players discussing. I think that Benfica has done a very good job. So I think that maybe this is part of it. But Dave, we'll have to keep our eye out in terms of who's the next guy that's going to hit 50. Will he have the same treatment as Neres?
I'll have to compile my list and
Dave, keep an eye on that. We're gonna have to keep an eye on that. I'm gonna read some comments here. Carlos Amaro, Carlos, welcome. We clearly need a left back that inspires confidence with Roger at least. Furioso says, Alfredo, you should name the channel the same name as the podcast. Makes it easier to find algorithm. I get it. I've been meaning to change it. Roger did say he's going to experiment more with the lineup, says Sergio Cerqueira. SLBEES, why isn't Tino playing over Neves? Neves isn't ready or even as good as Tino. I don't think it's a matter of being as good as Tino already. I just think that he offers something that's different. And I do think, as I mentioned here, that Tino matches up better with Kokshu than Neves does. Sergio Siqueira says, I think Roger likes Neves' work rate over Tino. Gary B says, Roger don't take no shit. PJO says, it seems like Roger Schmidt is experimenting with the lineup. That's why Auschwitz played 90 minutes of left back. Redman says, Samu is the new Onana. SLBES, Neves isn't even a defensive midfield. Kevin says Roger took a page out of JJ's old playbook, inventing new positions for players, i.e. Frederick. And who can't forget David Luiz, also at left back. Bruno Teixeira says, I think Tino should be in the other spot, fight between Neves and Kokshu. I agree with that. The situation with Audi is effed up. I like Roger, but blaming Audi for the 3 goals was low class. I don't know. So I don't know that he blamed them. I think his exact words were that we needed new energy in goal.
Yeah.
Now, if you watch all these shows, whether it's CMTV, whether it's CNN, PT, whatever these shows are watching, the narrative from our opponents, and hear me out, the narrative is that they're making Vlaco Dimos a victim. That's the spin that they're creating to divide us, to divide Benfiquistas, right? Because a lot of Benfiquistas are going to be watching, you know what? That Vlaco Dimos is a victim in this. I don't think that Roger Schmidt ever said he's at fault in all 3 goals, but certainly he did say we need a new energy. And every coach has that right to change a position, change a starting lineup based on what he feels is best for the team. He gets paid to make those decisions. Kevin says, Ristich, knowing that he wasn't start must have been a gut punch. He's not horrible left back, honestly. I don't think he's bad either. I think that he's been at the same level as Jurisic. Michael Machado, Rogers sipping that new Kool-Aid where you play center mid as an outside back to then come central into the middle to create overloads. Could be. PJL, Rogers experimenting with the lineup. If Jurisic or Risic get hurt, you can trust Auschwitz at left back. I think you could trust Auschwitz at any position at this point. Left back, center back, center mid. He'll be center forward.
He'll take Odysseus's position too as backup keeper once he's out. Out the door.
I heard that he's played goalie also. I don't know. Bruno Teixeira says the good side of it's that Auschwitz offers more teamwork. I get it. Furiosa says at home we should start Maria and Neres. Too much balancing of the team by Roger. I get it. I understand this. And if Neres is not okay, put in Sheldrup. I thought Sheldrup showed well in preseason. Carlos Amaro says João Mario is a respected captain in the locker room. Roger's trying to manage the locker room egos. Yeah, I get that. Natural Fire is here. Welcome. Neres over João Mario. That's not even a debate, says SLBES. Maybe in the Champions or versus big teams, balance the act. Otherwise, Maria at one wing, Neres on the other. Furiosa says. Sergio Cerqueira, João Mario needs to take a seat. I get it, man. All of you guys are on that same page. I think those guys need to start at home, especially at home. Dave, 2-0. Most important, 3 points after dropping points at Bessa. We needed this 3 points against Estrela da Amadora in a packed stadium. Dave, stats on this game so we can move on.
Yeah, Tankstad opened up his account as his goal account as a Benfica player, and Rafa, he loves the month of August and September when the weather is hot. He's on fire here to open up the season. Has scored in consecutive games to open up the season, and out of Benfica's 4 goals this season, he's had 2 of the goals and he's had an assist on the other one.
Yeah, Carlos is saying Rogers' criticism was absolutely appropriate. There was nothing low class about it. Laughable to call it that. I think our opponents are making a big deal out of it. And if you think
That's
about
why
it,
I said don't feed into it.
Yeah,
There's
and-
no fire here. There's nothing wrong.
and if
They're
you-
looking at something here.
And if you think about it, right, whether you think it's disrespectful or whether you think it's bad to call out the player, and look, we have a German in front of our team. Germans are very cold, very logic, very calculated. They're going to tell you like it is. There's no romanticism. There's no sugarcoating it. It's a German. He's going to give it to you like it is. Learn to accept it and respect it. That's the style of communication that he has. All right, moving
Last
on.
I checked, they're in a results-based industry, right?
Right.
You
He gets paid to make the decisions. If the team does not perform, he's on the hot seat. So guess what? You got to make moves to make sure that the team is put in the best position to perform and get the results. Nothing else. They're professionals. When Flaco Dimos needed a cat pulled out of the tree, Benfica was there. We expect them to be respectful towards the coach's decisions. Simple. Very simple.
We can always go back to it is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, you don't want the it is
that's
what it
people
is,
want.
man. I'm tired of those times that it is what it is. The thing is that we have a coach that we pay a lot of money to make decisions. Tough decisions. A lot of them. Right? And we have to respect his decisions. Because at the end of the day, he's the guy that's going to fall. All right. Sorry about the cough. Moving on. Benfica will travel to Cockland. Was it the number 2, Dave?
That's number 2.
Benfica will travel to Cockland to play Gil Vicente, or also known as Barcelos, in the third round of the Portuguese league, the Betclic League. Saturday, 8:30, up north, as I mentioned. And Dave, what's Gil Vicente up to these days?
They opened up the season with a victory, a 5-0 victory against Portimonense, and then followed that up last weekend with a loss to Guimarães, a 2-1 defeat there. But historically against Gil Vicente, we've got 36 wins, 7 draws, 6 defeats in the previous 49 meetings. Our last 10 have gone our way, 9 wins with a lone defeat in February of 2022.
Yeah, Furioso Paulo Tomás. Get it, man. I didn't know you by Furioso, but Paulo Tomás I do. Yeah, look, another important game for Benfica up north. Cabral will get the start. Does Samu get the start, or does Truban get the start, Dave?
Good question. I would think Truban at this point, he's got another week, so that would be another week and a half of playing with the team. I'd like to see what he can bring to the squad, but I'm good if he has to go back to Samu, and maybe after the international break he starts Truban, but I'm good with either one.
Does Ristich get the start, or does Auschnitz get the left back start?
If he didn't get the start at home, I don't know. I think at this point it's Auschnitz until we get another left back. I think
That's a shame.
I don't know what Ristich would have to do. I guess at this point I'm not even gonna say it because I don't want to jinx the guy. But yeah, I think Ristich is on the way out.
Yeah, chat. Let me hear you. Samu or Truban to start against the Cox. Be interesting. I think that Cabral gets some under the rep, especially because Musa is still serving his suspension. It'll be his last game.
Was it 2-game suspension for the straight red, right?
Yep. I think Cabral gets another start, another week of work, some conditioning. But what do you guys think in the chat? Samu or Truban? Sergio Cerqueira says Samu for now. Michael Machado says there's no way you bench Samu. Yeah, I think that everybody, PJO, Samu starts. Yeah, I think that I'm with you guys. I think that Samu continues. So we'll see. We'll see. But I think that if Flaco Lemus goes, I don't think it'll be too long before Trubin is in the lineup again. PJO says it's
a very
best.
tough month to open up the season. The schedule makers were not kind to Benfica.
The schedule makers to draw, Dave. What kind of fool do you take me for? You think people made up their schedule for Benfica?
I'm just saying that it was a very tough month here to open up the season. We already dropped points against Boavista. Gil Vicente away is never easy, and then Guimarães before the international break. Too, mind you, it's at home, but they're never a slouch either. So
yeah, look, Samu didn't have a lot of work, but I did like the fact that he could play with his feet. Very impressed by the fact that he could play with his feet. Didn't have a lot of work. But yeah, I think that he gets the start. SLBES says Trubin will get the start. I think it's too early. I think we'll all agree. But another key game for Benfica. And look, I didn't need to suffer this last game against Estrela da Amadora till the end, man. Please don't let this be another season of suffering. I'm getting choked up, Dave.
Don't cry about it, please.
Yeah, I can't handle another season of suffering.
But I think we do a little bit. We do it to ourselves. Like, there's nothing here with, and I think we're falling into that trap of our opponents wanting to put that fire where there is and wanting to feel bad for Odie, and Roger's now the bad guy. early times here. Let's get on the same page, fight the fight, and we'll be celebrating the 39th championship at the end of the season.
Dave, I'm good with that. As long as Roger Schmidt doesn't invent. Just get it together. You know, just play the people, play the players that are supposed to play.
But if he doesn't trust them, if he doesn't have the confidence, or if there's clearly something there with Ristich that he doesn't believe in him, so he doesn't count. Okay, so he's using Arshness there in that position as a temporary gap. Obviously, nobody's expecting him to play him the rest of the season in that spot, but market's still open for another week and a half. Get another left back. Maybe consult with Roger. Maybe he's got a couple of
he's got a couple of guys in Holland.
That he can go poach and go on from there.
Look, biggest thing is that I think that we have the best squad, deepest squad that we've had in years, right? 100%. Aside from the left back position, which to me right now is still pretty iffy. I'm okay with Ba. I'm not his biggest fan. But also all we have.
But we haven't seen he's gotten a couple of knocks here or there too. So if he goes down, we were talking about this before.
We got João Vitor
live. João Vitor, are we confident in his abilities at right back? I'd like to get another true right back in that position just in case that happens. But
yeah, could
we'll
be.
See what happens.
Could be, or maybe there's an adaptation going on right now in the. We got Auschnitz that could play right back also, Dave. Let's not forget that.
Of course.
So, if we don't have João Vitor, we have Auschnitz. But certainly, look, I think I was done with suffering, especially with the squad that we have. We shouldn't be suffering against Estrela da Amadora at Estádio da Luz. We really shouldn't. So, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But definitely, let's not make shit up, Roger. Please play the guys you're supposed to play. if guys are out of form, sit him down. If João Mario's not the player, sit him down. I know that he has a soft spot for João Mario and Auschwitz. It seems like those two have to play all the time, and I don't think they fit. I don't think both of them could play. I can understand one of them playing because he has to provide some kind of a balance, but I don't get it. But yeah, our opponents are, especially Porto, struggling a little bit, losing clearly their poster boy.
The goal point player of the decade.
The goal point player of the decade. Portugal national team legend.
His citizenship didn't get converted to Saudi as a part of the move.
I have no idea. Yeah, SLBES says best squad since 91/2 players for every position. Yeah. With the difference that left back position, I would be okay if we had a strong guy and then a guy that's mediocre to average. But we have two guys that haven't convinced me yet. Ristich Shirton hasn't convinced Roger Schmidt. So, I don't know, man. But I'm excited for the season. I'm excited for the winter. I keep saying winter. I'm excited for the transfer window to close. Do you know when that closes, Dave? Is it on 31st of August or?
It's usually around that time, but they've been playing around with the dates.
I know that some countries do have some extended deadlines, or I don't know. But yeah, I can't wait for that to close, so there's some stability within the squad. I don't know if there's still guys that are thinking about making a move or listening to agents' offers, whatever. But certainly, I can't wait for it to end and so we could go on with the season. But please, I don't want to suffer like I suffered against Estrela da Amadora anymore. We're better than that. So please, Roger.
But I'm gonna be the bearer of bad news.
Go ahead.
That's all being a part of Benfica, a Benfica fan here. We are gonna suffer. There's gonna be more of those games here to.
Not with the German.
Pardon?
Not with the German. That's why we went to get the German.
Hey, there was games down the stretch last season where
I know he's so stubborn with always João Mario, Rafa, Gonçalo Ramos. Went through the worst period of form, and yet they were getting the call every time. But anyway.
Hey, at that point, we didn't have, I don't know, who was the depth to come take those guys out of those
Well, that's
positions.
the thing. That's the thing, because somebody asked him if there will be more squad rotation this year around, or that he always used the same number of guys, and he said it should change. But anyway, that is all we got. 50 minutes in. Sorry that it's not an hour, but that's all we really got. When Cristiano's not here, it's usually shorter. Thank you to all the Freddies that kept us company. There's quite a few of you in there. And,
smash the like button.
Smash the like button, yeah, and subscribe if you haven't. I do plan on changing over the channel to Benfica Podcast, which I have it. Maybe episode 500 will be the first one out of there. That's all we got. Thank you very much. We'll be back next Tuesday. We'll break down this Gil Vicente game, and we'll look ahead to Benfica's next game. Thanks, everyone. Later.